The baby shower was at Mom's house, decorated in pink and gold with at least 200 balloons. My sister Jessica was 7 months pregnant and milking every moment of attention. "Another gift," she squealed, tearing into wrapping paper. "Oh, a diaper genie. How practical." I sat in the corner sipping punch, having already given my gift, a $200 gift card to the baby store. Generous but not extravagant. "Safe. Aren't you going to give Jessica something better?" my Aunt Carol whispered to me. "A gift card seems so impersonal. It's what she asked for on the registry. But you can afford more. You work in banking, don't you?" I did work in banking. Just not the way Aunt Carol imagined. Jessica opened the last gift and stood up, one hand on her belly. "Thank you all so much. This baby is so lucky to have such a generous family." She paused dramatically. "Actually, I have one more request." Here it comes, I thought. As you know, babies are expensive. Like really expensive. And Ethan and I want to give our daughter the best of everything. The best nursery, the best clothes, the best education from day one. Ethan, her husband, nodded along like a bobblehead. "So I've been thinking about how to make that happen," Jessica continued. "And I realized, Natalie has been saving money for years. She lives alone, no kids, no husband, drives an old car. She doesn't need all that money just sitting there doing nothing." My stomach tightened. "Natalie, I need you to liquidate your accounts for my baby," Jessica announced to the room. "I've calculated everything. You must have at least $300,000 saved up by now. That would cover the nursery renovation, a year of nanny care, private preschool tuition and college fund startup. You'd be setting up your niece for life." 50 pairs of eyes turned to me. "Your savings are family property," Jessica continued like she was explaining basic math to a child. "That's how it works. When someone in the family needs help, we all chip in. And right now my baby needs help. Your money can make her future secure." "Jessica, I haven't agreed to," I started. "Don't be selfish." She cut me off, tears forming. "I'm your sister. This is your niece we're talking about. How can you sit there with hundreds of thousands in the bank while your own flesh and blood struggles?" Mom stood up. "Natalie, Jessica's right. You've been saving for years with no clear purpose. This is a purpose. This is family." "I have plans for my savings," I said quietly. "What plans?" Jessica snapped. "You're 34 and single. You're not buying a house, you're not getting married, you're not having kids. What could you possibly need $300,000 for?" "That's my business." "No, it's family business. Money in this family gets shared. That's how we work." Aunt Carol nodded. "She has a point, dear. You've always been the responsible one. It's time to be responsible for your sister's child too." I looked around the room. Aunts, cousins, Mom's friends, all nodding along. All agreeing that my money belonged to Jessica's unborn child. I calmly checked my watch. 2:47 p.m. Perfect timing. "Actually," I said, standing up, "there's someone I'd like you all to meet. She should be here any minute." "Who?" Jessica asked suspiciously. The doorbell rang. I walked to the front door and opened it. Standing there was Caroline Webb, dressed in an elegant navy suit, carrying a leather portfolio. "Ms. Reeves," she said with a professional smile. "Thank you for inviting me." "Come in," I said. "Everyone, this is Caroline Webb." Caroline stepped inside and I watched recognition flash across a few faces. She was occasionally on the local business news. "Caroline is the CEO of Pacific Trust Bank," I continued, "and my personal banking director." The room went silent. "CEO?" Mom's voice was faint. "Yes," Caroline said smoothly, shaking Mom's hand. "It's lovely to meet Natalie's family. She's one of our most valued clients." Jessica's face had gone pale. "Why is a bank CEO at my baby shower?" "Because Natalie asked me to attend," Caroline said. "She mentioned there was some confusion about her financial situation, and she thought I could help clarify things." "There's no confusion," Jessica said defensively. "She has savings that should go to family." "Ah yes. The savings." Caroline opened her portfolio and pulled out a document. "I've prepared a summary of Ms. Reeves' relationship with Pacific Trust. With her permission, of course." She looked at me. I nodded. "Ms. Natalie Reeves is not just a client of Pacific Trust Bank," Caroline said. "She's the majority shareholder. She owns 62% of the bank, which she acquired 4 years ago through her investment company, Reeves Capital Holdings. You could have heard a pin drop. She owns the bank? Aunt Carol whispered. She owns several banks actually, Caroline continued. Pacific Trust is her flagship, but her portfolio includes stakes in 12 other regional financial institutions. Her company manages approximately $8.4 billion in assets. Billion. Ethan's voice cracked. With AB. With AB, Caroline confirmed. Ms. Reeves' personal net worth is approximately $940 million. Jessica sat down heavily in her chair. So when you mention her savings, Caroline said pleasantly, I assume you're referring to her personal checking account, which currently holds about $400,000. That's essentially her pocket money. Her actual wealth is considerably larger. Mom's face had gone completely white. Natalie, you're a billionaire? Almost, I said. Not quite. I'm about 60 million short. But you work in banking. Jessica's voice was strangled. You said you work in banking. I do. I own banks. It's the same industry, different position. Why didn't you tell us? Because of this, I gestured to the room. Because the moment you knew I had money, you'd stop seeing me as Natalie and start seeing me as a resource. Which is exactly what just happened. That's not fair, Mom said. We just thought. You thought I was a middle-class bank employee with some savings. So Jessica decided those savings were hers. If you'd known the truth, you would have decided more was yours. The amount doesn't matter. The entitlement is the same. Caroline tucked her documents back into her portfolio. Ms. Reeves, I'll leave these materials with you. The trust documents you requested are ready for signature whenever you're available. She looked around the room. It was lovely meeting you all. Congratulations on the baby. She left, her heels clicking on the hardwood floor. The silence that followed was deafening. You let me look like a fool, Jessica finally said, her voice shaking. You sat there and let me beg you for money when you're worth almost $1 billion. You weren't begging. You were demanding. There's a difference. I'm your sister. And I'm your sister. Did you ever ask about my life? My work? What I actually do all day? Or did you just assume I was boring, unsuccessful Natalie who could be useful for cash? No answer. I've been building Reeves Capital for 9 years, I said. I started with an inheritance from Grandma Helen, the one you said I didn't deserve because I was her least favorite. I turned 200,000 into almost $1 billion. I did that through work, strategy, and careful planning. And you couldn't share any of it with family? Mom asked. I've given you plenty. Jessica, I paid for your wedding venue when you went over budget. That was $18,000. Mom, I covered Dad's hospital bills when insurance denied the claim. That was $47,000. Aunt Carol, I loaned you $20,000 for your business that you never repaid. I've given this family over $200,000 in the past 5 years. But you have so much more. Jessica said. What's $300,000 to you? It's mine. That's what it is. Mine to decide what to do with. So you're just going to keep it all? While your niece grows up struggling. Your household income is $160,000 a year. You're not struggling. You're living beyond your means and hoping I'll subsidize it. Ethan spoke up. Natalie, I think you're being unreasonable. Family should help family. I agree. So why don't you help? Why don't any of you help? Why is it always assumed that I'm the bank? Because you have it. Jessica stood up, wobbling slightly. You have more money than you could spend in 10 lifetimes. Why are you hoarding it? I'm not hoarding it. I'm investing it, growing it, using it to acquire more assets. That's how wealth building works. That's so selfish. No, what's selfish is demanding someone liquidate their accounts because you want a fancy nursery. It's not about a fancy nursery. Jessica was crying now. It's about you caring more about money than your own family. If you cared about me as family, you wouldn't have demanded my money in front of 50 people without asking me first. I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. Natalie, wait, Mom called. We need to discuss this properly. No, we don't. The discussion is over. My money is mine. My decisions are mine. If you want a relationship with me, it has to be based on something other than my bank account. And if we can't accept that? Jessica asked coldly. Then we don't have a relationship. I walked out. 3 days later, I received a letter from a law firm representing Jessica and Ethan. They were suing me for promissory estoppel, claiming I'd promised to support the baby and they'd relied on that promise to their detriment. I called my attorney Marcus Rivera. They have no case, he said after reviewing the letter. You made no promise. You gave no indication you'd provide support. This is a shakedown. What do I do? I'll respond. But Natalie, you should prepare for this to get nasty. Money makes people crazy. He was right. Over the next month it escalated. Jessica gave interviews to local news about her wealthy sister who abandoned her family. Mom started a GoFundMe for Jessica's baby necessities with my photo on it, claiming I'd refused to help. The GoFundMe was shut down when I threatened legal action. Jessica's lawyer filed an amended complaint adding Mom and Dad as plaintiffs, claiming I'd unduly influenced them to expect financial support. My attorney filed a countersuit for defamation and harassment. It all came to a head at a settlement conference ordered by the judge. We sat in a conference room. Me, Marcus, Jessica, Ethan, Mom, Dad, and their attorney, a weary-looking man named Tom Bradley. Judge Patricia Moore presided over the mediation via video. Let me understand this correctly, the judge said, reviewing the file. The plaintiffs are suing because the defendant, who owns nearly $1 billion in assets, declined to provide $300,000 for baby expenses? Yes, Your Honor, Tom said. My clients relied on family expectations. Family expectations are not legally binding contracts, Mr. Bradley. You know that. Your Honor, with respect, there's a pattern of financial support that created an implied obligation. Ms. Rivera, the judge turned to Marcus. What's your defense? That my client gave gifts freely and voluntarily, never created any obligation, and has the absolute right to decline future gifts of any amount for any reason. Sounds pretty straightforward to me. Mr. Bradley, I'm going to save you some billable hours and tell you this case is going nowhere. Ms. Reeves has no legal obligation to fund her sister's child. But Your Honor, Jessica burst out, it's not fair. She has so much and won't share any of it. Ms. Bennett, fair is not a legal standard here. Your sister's wealth is hers. Period. You have no claim to it. She's destroying our family. No, you're destroying your family by suing her for money she doesn't owe you. The judge looked stern. I'm dismissing this case. Mr. Bradley, I suggest you counsel your clients on the risks of pursuing frivolous litigation. Ms. Rivera, do you want costs? Yes, Your Honor, Marcus said. We've incurred $73,000 in legal fees defending this. Jessica gasped. Granted. The plaintiffs will pay defendants' costs within 90 days. We're done here. The screen went dark. In the silence that followed, I looked at my family. $73,000, I said quietly. That's what you now owe me for suing me. You could have just accepted no as an answer. We can't pay that, Dad said, his voice hollow. Then you'll be in debt. You'll know how it feels to owe someone money you don't have. Natalie, please, Mom said. Can't we work something out? You had a chance to work something out. When I said no at the baby shower, that was your chance to respect my decision. Instead, you sued me, went to the media, and tried to publicly shame me into compliance. We were desperate. Jessica said. No, you were entitled. There's a difference. I stood up and looked at Marcus. Send them the payment plan options. Standard terms, market interest rate. You're really going to make us pay? Jessica's voice was a whisper. You really sued me. Actions have consequences. I walked out for the second time, and this time I didn't look back. 6 months later, Jessica had her baby. A girl named Emma. I saw the photos on social media. Mom had tagged me before I blocked her. The baby was beautiful. The nursery looked modest but nice. They'd figured it out without my money. I received one text from an unknown number. Emma was born healthy. Thought you'd want to know. Dad. I didn't respond. My company acquired 2 more regional banks that quarter. My net worth crossed the $1 billion threshold. Forbes ran a feature about me, the reluctant billionaire, how Natalie Reeves built a banking empire in silence. The article mentioned I had no contact with my family. The reporter had asked why. Because they loved my money more than they loved me, I'd said. And I chose myself. A year after the baby shower, I received a letter. Not from a lawyer, just a handwritten envelope with Jessica's return address. I almost threw it away. Instead, I opened it. Natalie, I'm not asking for money. I know you won't believe me, but I'm not. I'm writing to apologize. It took me a year of therapy and a lot of hard conversations with Ethan to realize what I did. How I treated you. How entitled I was. You were right. I didn't see you as a person. I saw you as a solution to my problems. And when you wouldn't be that solution, I got angry instead of looking at myself. Emma's one now. He's walking, talking, thriving. We're doing it on our own and it's hard, but we're managing. I'm learning what you already knew, that working for something makes it more valuable than having it given to you. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect a relationship. I just wanted you to know that I understand now. What I did was wrong. What Mom and Dad did was wrong. You deserved better from your family. I hope you're happy. I hope your success brings you joy. And I hope someday maybe we can talk again. Not about money. Just as sisters. Jessica. I read the letter 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer. Maybe someday I'd respond. Maybe someday I'd be ready to try again. But not today. Today I had a board meeting, an acquisition to finalize, and an empire to run. The private banking director had walked in at exactly the right moment. The gifts had stopped. Both the baby gifts and the assumption that my gifts were mandatory. And I'd learned the most valuable lesson wealth could teach. That the only person responsible for protecting your success is you. Even from family. Especially from family.